All right, now for the next molecule which we get to discuss, this is a cortisol-binding globulin. Okay. Cortisol-binding globulin. This is a CBG. So they call this the Transcortin. Okay, so what is it and what are its application? Okay, so this is how the molecular structure will look like. Okay, you can pause to observe. So for the cortisol-binding globulin, it's also known as Transcortin. So it's a plasma protein that binds and transports cortisol, which is what the stress hormone. So it binds and transports the cortisol. Do you understand? It also binds and transports other hormones like aldosterone and progesterone, but not much, you know. So of course, it has to carry cortisol to the place of action. Do you understand? So it carries about 80 to 90% of cortisol that is in the blood to get to the site of action. So it controls the balance between uh, inactive cortisols and active cortisol. So it binds. So when it releases, this is when cortisol becomes active. Do you understand? So it helps to stabilize cortisol level and release it only when cortisol is needed and releases the right amount only. You know, so CBG binds cortisol, then releases cortisol. So factors affecting CBG level, it could be high in issues like pregnancy, estrogen therapy, or a woman is taking oral contraceptives. It could be decreased in liver disease, nephrotic syndrome. The person is so ill. Do you understand? So changes in the levels of this transporter, of course, will lead to changes in cortisol levels. Do you understand? So clinical significance is total cortisol levels can be misleading if the CBG is abnormal. So if you want to actually measure cortisol levels and get the right results, always measure for the free cortisol. That's the one that the CBG has released. So endocrine disorders could lead to high CBG, elevated cortisol, but normal free cortisol. So low CBG, the total cortisol is low. Do you understand? But the free cortisol could be normal. Do you understand? So you always use if you want to check for the right cortisol, you always check for the free one though. Okay, but this is what the cortisol binding globulin is.